G'day guys, Mike Pensini here. Today, we're going to do a little walkthrough for the synth parts for the latest IsoJam, Where Are You Now? Okay, here we are inside Ableton 10, which is where I've put the keys parts together for this jam. So I had some very talented friends who put this first music bed down, and then I added some keys to it. So I've turned that down, the music bed, just for a moment so you can hear the keys parts a bit more clearly. So I'm just going to play it through once. It's only a short tune, and just explain the different parts as we're going. Firstly, I'm starting off with a little Wavestate, string bend down, give it a bit of space. So there's four main synth parts for the bulk of the song. First one comes in now, and this is on the Korg Wavestate. So we've got like a synth pad. Now we're going to bring in another layer of synth pad. This is like a synth string type thing that I put together on the System-8. And that's layered with this arpeggiated pattern here. And then on the bottom here, we've got a, that's on the Moog, just a single counter melody line on the Moog Sub 37. Synth pad goes up. And then here we're about to bring in a little ARP Odyssey solo for the end bit. And let that fade out. Right, so to give you a quick breakdown of the parts, basically this first part here, that's the Korg Wavestate. So I've put that together, basically just taken one of the presets that were close to what I was looking for, because I wanted to put this together fairly quickly. So found a preset that's, like, sometimes I'll start from complete scratch, just raw waveforms, build something up from scratch. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry or I find something that's actually quite close to what I'm looking for, I'll just edit and tweak the preset. So that's what I did in this case. So we cut over to the Wavestate. I've basically started off with something that's close, which is this sound here. And you can see it's got a few different layers. Then I've basically just taken one of the layers out and added a more brassy sounding preset, which when you open up the mod wheel, it opens up the filter. So when we go up the octave here, if I just go back and isolate this track, so you can hear it's quite mellow here, nice and breathy. A few different layers. You've got like a layer with a lot of sheen to it, layer with a bit more body, a bit more roundness down low. And then if we cut across to here, you can hear I've brought in that second layer, which has got a lot more brassiness to it. So like a real analog synth brass, and that's using the Poly6 filter emulation on the Korg Wavestate. Then we put it up the octave there, and it just lifts the whole thing, gives it another level of intensity as we're building towards the peak of the tune. And that's basically the bulk of the Korg Wavestate sound. So I'm using it as the main pad sound for the tune. So then that's great, but I wanted a little extra bit of body to the sound. So I've already maxed out the 4 layers. Could use the Wavestate again, but I wanted to use the Roland System-8. There's a really good string layer using the Jupiter 8 emulation, and I've basically just got that, just tweaked it to where it's a bit more. If you hear it here, I'll solo that. You can hear it's just your fairly standard analog synth string sound. High pass filtered it a little bit so there's not too much weight and body and mud down low. And that, when you combine it with the Korg, and get the two of them together, it balances out. The Korg's got the sheen, it's got that nice mellow roundness to it, it's got that brassiness that comes through, and then the System-8 is giving that nice synth string sort of saw wave glue throughout the whole thing. And that's the bulk of it. So, there we go. Pads taken care of. So the next thing, I wanted to add like a little something bit with a bit more motion to it, something with a bit of like an arpeggiated sound, basically. So the cool thing, I used the System-8 for that, and I used the JX3P plug out. And the great thing about the System-8 is that when you hook it up via MIDI, so I've hooked it up via USB MIDI in this case, to the to Ableton, what it actually, rather than just outputting the notes that you play, when you hold a chord, it'll actually output each note of the arpeggiator in the System-8. Open the filter a little bit, just to build it again. And so on and so forth. So the cool thing is, by hooking it up via MIDI, I can sync it to the tempo of the tune in Ableton. And also, if some of the chord hits weren't quite on as far as to keep everything exactly on the beat where I wanted it, you can just quantize it, because every single note, every one of those 16th notes has just come in as a MIDI track. So you can just, bang, away you go. Quantized, happy days. So then, just wanted to put a little counter melody. Now, Judd's done a killer vocal line, some killer vocal harmonies, but I just wanted something else, just a little bit of a counter melody, just to balance it out, give it a bit more analog goodness in there, and can't go past the Moog for something like that. So I've used the Moog Sub 37 here, and I've basically started off with one of the presets that I created that's in my Sub 37 Vintage Funk sound pack. Little cheeky plug there. It's available on my website if for any Sub 37 or subsequent 37 owners. Basically started with that, just tweaked the sound, put a bit of LFO filter movement in, and just ended up with this sound here. So you can hear that LFO got routed to the filter, and it just gives it that movement, that pulsating quality. Some nice resonance in there. And just using my left hand just to operate the filter cutoff, just to sort of make it breathe, bring it open, make it a bit brighter, make the sound poke out a little bit more, and then bring it back underneath Judd's vocal. And that counter melody, we just listened to that in combination with the backing track. So it just thickens it out. It's only one note with a little bit of reverb, a little bit of delay, just thickens it. Right, and that is basically, that's the bulk of the tune. That's the bulk of the synth parts for that tune. The only thing that's left is there was a bit of space at the end of the song. Thought it was perfect just to put a little bit of a synth solo that just pokes through at the end. So what haven't we used? We haven't used the ARP Odyssey. It's the perfect sound for something like that. It's got a bit more bite. It's got a bit more of those high mids that just really poke out and really cut through the mix. So I'll cut across now to the ARP, and you can see the settings that I've used on that. Basically, just single oscillator, square wave. Keep it simple. Sometimes I like using two oscillators on the ARP, just an octave apart. That's kind of my standard sound, I guess, for a lot of lead stuff. But for something like this, just wanted to keep it simple. Just wanted to make it a nice, clean, cutting sound that will just come through at the end. One square wave, bang, and we get this. Lots of reverb and delay. And just ending on the ninth of the chord there, just for something a little bit floaty, bit different. And that's it. That's Where Are You Now? That's the Synth Parts. That's a walkthrough. If you've got any questions, please leave them down below. I'll answer everything. So if you've got any questions about any of the sounds, how they're put together, how the song came about as far as writing or anything like that, just let me know, and I'd love to get back to you. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take it easy. Bye for now.